What's up guys, welcome back to another Sport Universe video. So for this video we're going to focus mainly on MLB awards, predictions coming from me, Spencer Reyes, Frank Caggino, and Rushab Lakhani, all giving our point of views about different predictions, different award races, and ultimately the World Series, who's going to win it. So let's just get right into it.
I'm Spencer, going to be talking about Rookie of the Year awards, especially for the National League. So for the National League, I narrowed it down to Alec Bohm, Drake Cronenworth, Sixto Sanchez, and who I think is going to win, Devin Williams, leading pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. He put up 27 innings of work in 22 games, .33 ERA, 53 strikeouts, .63 WHIP, 4-1 record, only giving up 8 hits, 4 runs, committing 1 error, 9 walks, and 1 home run throughout the whole season. This guy went 27 innings, only gave up 1 home run. These stats are too elite to ignore, essentially. This guy brought up the whole field. He's one of the top pitchers of baseball. He's going to continue to be one of the top pitchers of baseball, especially for a bullpen. They might even consider making him a long relief starter, but we'll have to see. The American League, for me, it came down to Kyle Lewis and Luis Robert. I ultimately chose Kyle Lewis because he had a better full season than Luis Robert did. Luis Robert was a lot better in the beginning part of the season, but coming to September, he was only batting .09. But all in all, Kyle Lewis, 57 games, 262 batting average, 364 on-base percentage, 37 runs, 54 hits, 11 home runs, 28 RBIs, and 5 stolen bases to his name. He played as if he was a guy that's already been in the season, played past seasons for the MLB, and there's no better way to cap it off than to give this guy the American League Rookie of the Year.
For the National League Manager of the Year, I believe the most deserving candidate is Don Mattingly of the Miami Marlins. The Marlins are a team that went into the year with very little expectations. This team had to overcome a tremendous amount of adversity after their coronavirus outbreak. They lost a ton of players and had to fill in with just about whoever they could find. This team still found a way to finish above 500 and make the playoffs, where so many teams in the National League that had better rosters and higher expectations than the Marlins made the playoffs but had under 500 records. So despite all of that, Miami still finished as one of the better teams in the National League when nobody projected them to, and things got even tougher as the season progressed, but they were able to survive this marathon of the season, and their manager deserves a ton of credit for that. For the American League Manager of the Year, I believe that Kevin Cash is the most deserving for this award. The Tampa Bay Rays finished with the best record in the American League despite having probably one of the least talented rosters. The Tampa Bay Rays find different ways to win, whether it's finding the right combination of lineup without having any big-time star players, getting enough out of the rotation, and most importantly, their bullpen. Tampa Bay uses a ton of different pieces, and Kevin Cash is able to integrate them all to make them work well and make for the best team in the American League, finishing 7 games better than the Yankees, who were projected to be the best team in all of the league. Despite their injuries, the Rays still did not have nearly as a good team and finished with better records than the other really good teams in the Central or even the AL West, like the A's and the Astros.
The 2020 NL Cy Young race. In my opinion, in my decade plus of being a baseball fan, this is one of the closest races I've ever seen. With all due respect to Jacob deGrom and Corbin Burns, who I believe had amazing seasons and were honestly underrated, I think the top 2 candidates are Yu Darvish and Trevor Bauer. In my opinion, Trevor Bauer has a slight edge here, and I love Yu Darvish and his 11 different pitches. However, Trevor Bauer just went off this year. He had a 38 ERA minus and 173 ERA. That's crazy. That's 62% better than league average. His expected ERA, according to batted ball data, was also crazy at 213. He basically led the Reds to the playoffs, and I think that's more than worthy of winning the AL Cy Young race. Well, it's not much of a race. I mean, have you seen Shane Bieber this season? He has been off the charts. He had an ERA minus of 35 this year, which is 65% better than league average, and an ERA of 163. Not only that, he struck out over 40% of the batters he faced. He led pitchers in both Fangraphs WAR and Baseball Reference WAR, and in my opinion, he's worthy of the MVP, although that's for another video to say. His pitching staff basically led the Indians to the playoffs because it definitely wasn't their batting, and I definitely think that he will unanimously win the Cy Young.
Is the National League MVP race. It's really come down to Fernando Tatis Jr. and Mookie Betts. if you're a baseball fan and you haven't heard these two names in the highlights, I don't know what highlights you're watching, because they've lit up the screen this season, lit up Los Angeles and San Diego. Tatis himself put San Diego back on the map, made them a playoff team. Just going through some stats, Fernando Tatis, 62 hits, 17 home runs, 277 batting average, 45 RBIs, 366 on base percentage, 571 slugging percentage. Was amazing with runners in scoring position. I think he had above 400 average for that. Mookie Betts, on the other hand, 64 hits, 66 home runs, 292 batting average, 39 RBIs, .366 on base percentage, 562 slugging, and a 3.4 WAR, which is wins above replacement. I mean, looking at those two stats lines, they're very similar. Both had outstanding seasons. But if I had to choose, I'm going to pick Fernando Tatis to win the MVP this season, simply because he made baseball so fun this season with what he was able to do with the Padres, put the Padres back on the map. The Dodgers have always been good. The Padres have not. Fernando Tatis and what he did this season put them back on the map, made them a playoff team. And I think, in my opinion, Tatis had a bigger impact on his team compared to Mookie Betts, who also had an impact, but the Dodgers were already good. The Padres weren't. So yeah, I would have to go with Fernando Tatis to win the NL MVP. Is the MVP race in the American League. Right now, it comes down to Mike Trout or Shane Bieber, with an honorable mention to Nelson Cruz, who isn't going to win it, but who had an outstanding season. So Mike Trout, if you don't know him, greatest baseball player currently, even if he didn't win the MVP this year. And then Shane Bieber, who's having an outstanding season for the Indians. Well, who did have an outstanding season for the Indians. Mike Trout, 17 home runs, 56 hits, 46 RBIs, 281 batting average, 390 on base percentage, 603 slugging percentage. Crazy numbers, especially for a 60-game season. And then on the other side, we have Shane Bieber, 163 ERA, 8-1 record, 122 strikeouts, 14.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's an insane number. And a .866 whip, which is also crazy. If I had to pick someone for the MVP for the AL, I'd probably go with Mike Trout. He just had an outstanding season. Usually pitchers don't win the MVP race. I don't know who the last one is, maybe Clayton Kershaw. Shane Bieber had an outstanding season, and it's definitely a close race between Mike Trout and Shane Bieber, but in my opinion, I would have to go with Mike Trout. Just what he's able to do and what he continues to be able to do is incredibly impressive, especially in a 60-game season where, if you guys remember, in the beginning of the season, he wasn't sure if he wanted to play, and it turned into one of his really good seasons. All right, so now we're going to pick World Series winners. Obviously, this is far away, somewhat. We're not there yet, but that's what makes these types of predictions fun. You don't know what's going to happen, and we're just seeing if our guesses are anywhere close.
2020 World Series pick. In an effort to remain unbiased, I'm going to avoid picking my Yankees, even though I'm 100% sure that we are going to bring number 28 home. Sorry, I know that's a biased Yankee fan's thing to say. Anyway, I believe other than the Yankees, the best team in the league this year is the Dodgers. However, I just don't trust them in the postseason. With Clayton Kershaw's postseason struggles and the inexperience of the rest of their pitching staff, and of course, Cody Bellinger's postseason struggles and his struggles the entirety of this year, I just don't trust him to go all the way. That is why I'm going to hop on the Padres bandwagon.
For me, if I had to choose a World Series winner, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They had an outstanding season, and how many times can you go into the playoffs having the best record in baseball or close to the best record in baseball and not finish it out? The Dodgers have had that for the past couple seasons, and I'm thinking this season it's going to be different. Clayton Kershaw already put on an outstanding performance in the playoffs and was something that had held back the Dodgers, which was Clayton Kershaw's struggles in the postseason, so maybe he's past that. Offensively, they added Mookie Betts to an already crazy lineup, and Mookie Betts had a great season. There's so much to like about the Dodgers, and to not put the Dodgers as my favorite to win the World Series is doing them a disservice, and in my opinion, I think I'm right, so that's my prediction.
I have the Dodgers trumping Chicago White Sox for the 2020 World Series trophy. Nonetheless, no matter who wins, it's going to be very exciting postseason to watch.
For my World Series champion, I have to pick the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know they're the favorite, and I know they have a stacked team, but the Dodgers have got to get it done. They have been in the World Series multiple times in the past few years and have not been able to finish off the job. They made a massive move getting Mookie Betts in the offseason and having him signed for a long-term extension. With all of the moves the Dodgers have made, with all the talent that they have, this is the year for them to finally get it done. There is no excuse. With all the players that this team has, they have everything they need. So there is no excuse why this team cannot be World Series champions this year.